Does UGA have any superstars on his football team? Who are the best players for the 2025 Georgia Bulldogs? I don't think the answer is quite as obvious as it has been in the past. I alluded to that in another video. You can go through the last few years, and heading into the season, the stars were obvious, whether they were Brock Bowers or Jalen Carter, N'Kobe Dean, just so many guys over the last few years that have gone on to play in the NFL and be successful doing it while they were superstars in college. Does Georgia have that this season? Because I don't know. I've got a few guys in mind that I think are stars in the making, will be stars right now, or have that potential. I'm going to talk about two players on each side of the ball that I think can be Georgia's best players, can be guys where you just rely on and say that's the guy in this situation when I need something. He's the one that's going to give it to me. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post. I don't know if this Georgia team is as talented as the last few seasons. That doesn't mean that the Dogs can't get really, really far or win a national championship, because I look around the rest of the country and I don't necessarily feel the same way about the rest of the top teams. I've talked about that a lot. I'll talk about it more, but this is about right now. Let's go defense first, right? Because Georgia, that's usually where Georgia has superstars. To me, my prediction of and who might just be the best player on Georgia's team, I think about safety KJ Bolden. He's a true freshman last season. Where's number 4? If you're not familiar, this is one of the fastest players on Georgia's roster. This is one of the fastest defensive backs in college football. He is a former 5-star. I went and I watched him a good bit down at Buford, over in Buford, Georgia, one of the best high school football programs in the country. I was going over there to watch Dylan Raiola, the quarterback. He ended up not going to Georgia. Well, it worked out for me. I got to see a lot of KJ Bolden. I got to see him catch a lot of touchdowns. I got to see him lock guys up. I got to see him take punts and kicks back, right? So he is one of those types of athletes, like Malachi Starks was, that can play multiple positions. Georgia asked him to do more than one thing last year. He becomes a full-time starter as a true freshman for Georgia. And it was pretty immediate. It takes two things. I'll say it takes three things for you to get on the field as a freshman and for you to command a starting position as a freshman. One, there's going to be a need for it, right? And Georgia definitely had some need in its secondary a year after it lost Kamari Lassiter and Javon Bullard and Tykees Smith, right? That's what Georgia was dealing with heading into the 2024 season. KJ Bolden, 1, filled that need. 2, had the talent. Very talented guy. It's obvious. And to me, it's been obvious this spring. Hey, this guy's making plays at G-Day. The way that he flew to the line of scrimmage when Georgia was running the ball was like, whoa. They've got he's not the thumper that Dan Jackson was, but he can get in position to do that. He's got speed, he's got his ball skills, he's got all that. But 3, it's the trust. And Kirby and this coaching staff trust KJ Bolden. Kirby considers him one of the leaders of this football team. The dude's been in Athens for like 16 months. 16 months. Early enrollee a year ago. He hasn't done 2 years of college. He's considered one of the older guys on this football team. He's considered a leader on this football team, and it says a lot about KJ Bolden. So he is kind of the first guy that pops in my head. Does Georgia have a star? I think it's KJ Bolden. Okay, so next, and I'm sticking with the defensive side of the ball here, and then I'll give you 2 offensive guys. Linebacker CJ Allen. He is one of the leaders of this football team. When you see the 4 captains from Georgia walk to midfield to greet the captains on the other team this coming year, you are going to see CJ Allen a handful of times. Mark my words right now. That is what you're going to see when they walk across the field. You're going to see that number 3 shaking hands with the other team. He's a junior. He's a true junior. He's a guy that roped in as a true freshman. And look, I talked about this a year or so ago. Maybe, I guess it would have been 2 years ago now. Jamon Dumas-Johnson was Georgia's linebacker 1 in 2023. A guy that started for that national championship team in 2022. He eventually dealt with an injury, but C.J. Allen was rotating in there with him. It wasn't C.J. Allen rotating with Small Monday. It was C.J. Allen rotating with Jamon Dumas-Johnson. He was commanding reps and potentially taking Jamon Dumas-Johnson, otherwise known as Pop. He was taking his job a little bit. And he's a full-time starter as a sophomore. He's the second leading tackler behind Malachi Starks, a star, and a potential first-round pick here in a few days. 76 tackles, 4 passes deflected, had the interception. He's got the numbers. What Georgia does on a year-in and year-out basis is they are producing linebackers that are legit, and they are national award contenders. Jalen Walker won the Butkus Award last year. He is a hybrid linebacker, right? Played some off-ball and also played edge rusher. So he is not the same type of player as C.J. Allen, but we saw Nakobe Dean do this as an inside linebacker. We saw Roquan Smith do this. Georgia rotates more than it did back then. They've got more depth. Now, there's not as much experience on this Georgia football team, so C.J. Allen is going to play a lot. There happens to be legitimate depth behind the linebackers, so he would be a candidate to get fresh legs compared to some of the starters at other positions. But Allen is now going into year 3 where he started a year. He started some his true freshman season. He's the alpha on Georgia's defense. He is 1,000% one of the leaders. And I don't think he's the most talented out of Georgia's inside linebackers. In fact, I think there's an argument that he's the least. And somehow he's been the best one. That's an instinctual thing. I think about a couple of plays. I think about that interception against Florida last year. I think about that critical third down stop where he tackled Justin Haynes against Alabama in the fourth quarter, a yard short of a first down that would have killed more time and really made it more difficult for Georgia to come back. I think about plays like that where it was just like, yeah, that's a star type of play. So Allen, I think, look, he's a Butkus Award candidate if you ask me for best linebacker in college football. When I move over to the offensive side of the ball, Georgia had an offensive line last year that had star names, right? It had Tate Ratledge, a two-time All-American, it had Dylan Fairchild, an All-American, Jared Wilson, a guy who is the most athletic offensive lineman in this upcoming NFL draft, and I think he's a sleeper candidate to go at the back end of the first round. Unlikely, but possible. Why wasn't this guy starting over them? I don't know, but I think he could be a star for Georgia this year. That's Micah Morris. He's going to be a guard. I think he'll play left guard, but you might see him at right guard some too. Where's number 56 if you're not familiar? He's one of the oldest players on this Georgia team. This is year 5 for him with the Dogs. He's been around. He's waited his turn. He talked about being a leader. He talked about learning from Warren McClendon and Jamari Salyer and Warren Erickson and Cedric Van Pran and all of those guys that came before him. And he's one of the strongest people on this team. He's a mauler. I think he is a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker than what I've seen from him over the last couple of years. You go ask Jordan Hall, go ask Christian Miller, this spring practice, Georgia's defensive lineman. What do they not like doing in practice? They don't like going up against Micah Morris when they do guard pull drills and he's running at them full speed ahead. Micah Morris, I think, is the best offensive lineman that Georgia has this year, if you ask me. And I think he could be an All-American like Fairchild and Ratledge were before him. And I think he could be a high pick for a guard a year from now in the NFL draft. It's his turn. He's got to show it. It's go time for him. This next one is the one that people probably want to hear the most. And it's the one out of this group of 4 players I'm talking about that I'm the least confident will become a star. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a good player. And I do think there's star potential with him. Part of that's the same thing with C.J. Allen and K.J. Bolden. They played as freshmen. They've got that path. It's running back Nate Frazier. I am in the belief and in the camp that Georgia's going to do running back by committee no matter how talented these backs are. Whether they're Kendall Milton, DeAndre Swift, all those guys or not, I think that you will see Chauncey Bowens and maybe Bo Walker, and I think you'll see Cash Jones and a little bit of Dwight Phillips. Nate Frazier is the guy, though. He's RB1. He flashed the talent last year. I think, he does have flashes of DeAndre Swift, but I don't think he's quite that. And I don't know if he's quite that good. Nate, if you're watching this and you're not, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But he will get the most touches for Georgia out of the backfield. He, from day one against Clemson last year, showed he has talent and showed he's got wiggle and shows he's got speed. And he had a couple of huge games for Georgia's true freshman and had to play a lot because of Trevor Etienne being injured, because of Roderick Robinson being injured, Branson Robinson being injured. That propelled him. It wasn't just his talent, and people need to realize that. But yes, the talent is there, and if he gets the touches necessary, he's going to have a monster year for Georgia. I don't think 1,000 yards is imminent. I think Georgia will spread the ball around a little bit more than that. But if there's a guy on offense, the wide receivers are all very good. I don't know if any of them are superstars. TBD on Gunnar Stockton. The tight ends are very good. I don't know that they're stars. Frazier has the most star potential out of all of them. So that's what I think. I think those are your guys. Definitely the players on the defensive side of the ball. The offense, as much as I think it could be a better offense this year, I'm not sure if they have a superstar. I'm not sure. Let me know if you disagree in the comments down below. Thank you again for watching.